In the heart of an ancient village, where the drums spoke louder than words, and the river carried the whispers of truth, lived a maiden whose beauty was as bright as the morning sun. Her name was Abeni. She was loved by Kola, the brave hunter whose arrow never missed their mark. But love, my child, is never without its trials, for envy walks silently among them, wearing the face of a friend. What happens when trust is broken, when lies twist the heart, and when the river itself rises to judge? Listen closely, for this is not just a tale of love. It's a story of betrayal, forgiveness, and the power of truth that no darkness can bury. Adekunle had always walked beside Kola, laughing at jokes, sharpening knives, helping to carry traps. He was not a bad man from when he was born, but time and words can twist a straight stick. Adekunle desired two things: the respect Kola carried like a cloak, and the warmth in Abeni's eyes. He tried to ignore it, he tried to shake it off like dust from his sandal, but envy is sticky. One evening, Kola showed Adekunle the comb Abeni had given him. "See the pattern," Kola said. She passed her heart through her hand. Adekunle nodded, but his stomach turned. That night, he lay awake, counting his empty victories. He remembered how the elders called Kola steady and called him loud. His chest felt tight. Envy began to whisper to Adekunle like a sly lizard behind a wall. Why him? Why not you? If you cannot have our love, at least destroy what they have. He shook his head. No, it owed himself. I'm Kola's friend, but the seed had already found soil. Days passed. Adekunle started watching for cracks. Any crack in their joy. When Kola was late from the forest, he asked Abeni questions that sounded innocent but carried hidden teeth. Did you miss him? Did anyone keep you company? He studied her answer like a hunter studied footprints. Nothing was wrong, but in his heart, he was missed bitter herbs. Market days came with unusual joy. Clothes bright as parrots, spices that stung the nose, seller calling like town criers. Abeni moved through the stalls, buying cassava, pepper, greeting old women by name. Adekunle followed from a distance, thinking, planning, weaving. He knew the village loved Abeni. He knew Kola trusted him. He needed a lie that wore the clothes of truth. He found a traveling trader by the palm wine stand, a man hungry for quick cowries. Adekunle poured drinks into the trader's cup and spoke softly. When a certain girl passes, he said, "Speak to her in a way that looks like a secret. I will make it worth your while." The trader's eye glittered. He agreed, not knowing the snake he was warming. Later, as the sun moved towards evening, Abeni headed towards the stream path. Adekunle signaled the trader, who stepped into her way with a grin. "Sister," the man said, leaning close, "I have fabrics that only queens wear. Come later, I will show you quietly." His tone was heavy and strong. Abeni drew back, polite but firm. "I'm not interested," she said, and walked on. The trader strung and faded into the crowd. Adekunle smiled to himself. A small sin, he thought, but a useful one, especially if the seen by the right eyes. He told two talkative boys that had noticed Abeni meeting someone suspicious, then dropped the topic. Enough bait for their mouths to spread. By evening, 3 women at the well were already wondering why the trader spoke to Abeni like that. By nightfall, one man told another that Abeni seemed secretive. The village did not accuse her, but the air had changed, just a little, like the first breath before rain. Kola heard nothing that day. He came back from the forest with an antelope on his shoulder, happy and tired. When he saw Abeni, his smile returned like sunshine. She laughed and praised his skill, but far away a whisper sat on his toe, sharpening itself for the next day. The new moon festival arrived, drums rolling like thunder, flute singing, dancers stamping the ground until the sand clapped. Abeni wore a simple white wrapper with blue bead. Kola wore a hunter's clothes with a stripe of red across his chest. They looked like a promise made flesh. Elders watched them with a pleased arm. Adekunle's plan thickened. He needed Kola to see with poisoned eyes. He found the same trader and promised him more cowries. Tonight, he said, meet the girl near the palm grove. Speak as if you shared a secret. I will bring a witness. The trader agreed, careless as a child playing with a scorpion. As the moon rose thick and bright, people moved between fires and drum. Adekunle led Kola towards the grove, pretending he had a rare drum maker displaying new work. The night air smelled of roast mist and wood smoke. Laughter hung like lantern in the tree. There, near the grove, Abeni stood, waiting for her friend Yemisi, who had gone to fetch water. The trader stepped out of the shadow and bowed. Queen of Grace, he said too softly. About the fabrics, shall we meet later? Abeni frowned. I told you no, she answered. Please leave me alone. She turned to go, just as Kola and Adekunle stepped from behind the palm. Kola's face tightened. He did not hear Abeni's firm word. He only saw a man standing too near. Adekunle gasped dramatically and gripped Kola's arm, as if to hold back his thumb. Brother, he whispered, have patience. Abeni saw Kola's eyes and felt a cold wind pass through her chest. She moved towards him. My love, she said, this man troubles me. Hi. But doubt had already drawn its mark over Kola's face. He nodded stiffly, said nothing and walked away. Abeni watched him go, the drum suddenly sounding far. Adekunle chose a moonlight night for the final trap. He told Kola that the traveler had spoken of a hidden trade with Abeni. He said he did not believe it, of course. He was only worried for Kola's honor. Let us go to the riverbank, he suggested. If they are not there, your heart will be at peace. Kola, tired from the weight of doubt, agreed. They hid behind Baba tree, near the water where frogs sang and crickets argued. Adekunle had arranged for trader to come again to pretend to meet Abeni, but Abeni did not come. She had no reason to be there. So the trader came alone, pretending to wait, looking around nervously, as if expecting someone. Adekunle whispered, do you see? Even the water is ashamed. They waited. The trader paced. No one arrived. Adekunle sighed deeply. Maybe she changed her mind, she said. Maybe she cautioned. The saint carried no proof, but to a heart already wounded, a shadow looks like a wounded cause. Kola stood up slowly and heavy. Enough, he said. My head is marketplace. Let's turn to needles. Each word between Kola and Abeni pricked. She stayed honest and open, yet she felt her truth fall to the floor like a bead that rolled away. Kola was gentle, but distant. He hunted longer. He turned later. He cried his confusion like a heavy basket he could not put down. Finally, under the mango tree where their love had first spoken, Abeni said, Kola, if my truth cannot reach you, what can I give? Her voice trembled, but her back was straight. I had done no wrong. If your heart is closed, I will not beg it to open. A bird cannot knock forever on a window. Kola's jaw tightened. He wanted to believe her. He also wanted to protect his pride. Pride is a clever thief. It steals love and leaves us with nothing but our shadow. Let us have space, he said quietly. Let me think. Abeni nodded once. Space can heal, she answered, or it can kill. What is weak? May we see which one our love is. She walked away. She stepped slow, her eyes bright with unshed tears. Adekunle watched from a distance, feeling a brief hot joy. The moon rose like a thin silver blade. Somewhere between the water and wind, a voice hummed. A voice older than the first drum. It remembered Abeni's kindness at the stream. How she used to clear leaf from the water path, so old women would not sleep. How she poured a little water on the ground in respect before filling her pot. The river does not forget good manners. It also does not ignore the unjust tears. Abeni went to the stream before dawn. Mist lay on the surface like a sleeping cloth. She knelt, spoke softly, not to the village, not to the wind, but to the one who sees through the water, the spirit the elders called Iyaudu, mother of the river. If I had lied, let the water reject me, she whispered. But if I am true, let the water carry my tears to the right ears. She poured a small libation of clean water and sang a simple song her mother had taught her. It was not magic, it was respect. The river rippled. A great elsewhere, Adekunle slept and dreamed. In his dream, the river rose and entered his house, washing his mats, carrying his calabashes, lifting his head like a dry leaf. A woman's voice thundered. The tears of the true called louder than drums. He woke shaking, his body cold despite the warm night. He tried to shrug it off, but sleep returned with the same dream stronger. A third time it came and he could not hide. The next day, strange thing begins to happen to Adekunle. His fine knife went missing, then was found roasted, though it had not been dry, with his strap snapped at empty air. A small boy passing his hut burst into tears without knowing why. Adekunle felt washed, not by people but by the river itself. Kola too had a sign. He trapped an antelope for hours, but his arrow missed clearly, something that had never happened. When he bent to pick the arrow, he saw Abeni's woven belt tied to a low branch. How did it get here? He remembered a steady hand, a patient eye. Doubt trembled. That evening, cloud gathered quickly, and a brief rain fell, though it was not the season. The drops were heavy and warm, like a mother's hand on a fevered child. The village murmured. The elder tightened their head, hearing the message inside the rain. Somewhere a drum began to beat, slow and ominous. The river had started to speak. Adekunle could no longer carry the stone in his chest. He went to the trader who had helped him. Do not speak of what we did, he warned. But fear and guilt had already loosened the trader's mouth. He told his own friend, who told another. By set, 3 men knew the shape of the lie. The village is big, but what are small runners with fast feet? That night, a sudden wind swept through Ayanfe. Lamps flickered, drums rattled over the wind. Kola heard a rhythm, the river rhythm, pounding like drum at a festival. His heart pounded with it. He left his hut and walked to the stream without planning. Others did the same. 2 elders, 3 women, even Adekunle trembling. They met at the water edge as if it called. The river was not wide, it was clear and bright. The moon steady upon it like a round cowrie. A soft hum rose from the river, not a song with word, but a sound that made people bow their head without knowing why. Abeni stood on the bank, her hands folded, her face calmed. She had not called anyone. The river had done the inviting. Kola stepped forward. He looked at Abeni, and for the first time in many days, he saw her, not the shadow of a lie around her. Abeni, he said, voice rough, I had doubted you. If I had wronged you, let the river judge me. Before she could answer, Adekunle broke. He fell on his knee, hand open like a child asking for food. Word poured out about the plan and trader, the stage meeting, the whisper, the greedy wish that had grown like a weed. He wept, not softly, but like a man whose roof is leaking on his head. The elder raised their staff. One spoke, a stream that carried death with stink. You carried death to your brother's house. What shall we say? The silence that followed was heavy, and yet it was clean silence, and the kind that comes before healing. River breeze touched Abeni's face. She closed her eyes, then opened them with a quiet light inside. She had waited for this moment, but not to crush anyone. She was ready to speak mercy, though mercy would not erase all pain. Abeni stepped closer to Adekunle. Get up, she said gently. He hesitated. Stand, she repeated firmly. He stood, head bent. I forgive you. Abeni continued, because carrying your sin in my heart will make my heart sick. But forgiveness is not forgetting. You will make amends. The elders nodded. Speak your amend. Once she said, Adekunle promised to confess to the whole village at dawn. He promised to serve the widow farms for 1 planting season. He promised to clean the stream paths every 3rd day so that no woman would sleep. These were not punishment alone. They were medicine for a broken spirit. The elders tapped the ground with their staff. So be it. Kola faced Abeni, shame and hope fighting in his eyes. I have wounded what was pure, he said. I did not hold your hand when you need it. I let a snake ease in my hair. His voice shocked. We can mend what I broke. Abeni looked at him a long time. Love is like a calabash. Days become weeks. The village has just like a clothes stretched and retired. Different but useful. Abeni kept her head high. She did not wear sorrow like a wrapper. She taught girls at the stream how to carry water safely, how to respect the spirit of a place, how to keep truth steady when wind blows. Sometimes she and Kola worked together, talking not about the past but about the work of each day. They were careful. They understood that healing is a patient farmer. Kola changed. He listened more than he spoke. He learned to question whispers and to wash his ear in reasons before letting words settle. He helped Adekunle in the field when the sun was harsh. He accepted Adekunle's apology without using them as a whip to the two men. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more interesting African folk tales. Like, share, and comment.